So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you each a team, get your analysis
I like
on it,
it.
and then we're going to move on. So I'm going to start off with you, Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
The next opponent I have here is the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor. Defense that's leaky as a sieve. So give me some analysis on these Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, we've played the Bengals 5 times since 2016. We're 2-3 against them. One of those wins came in overtime. So they do
I remember that
have
one.
they do have the edge against us. That overtime win, I believe, was like a fumble recovery or something like that, right?
It was a safety. It was
The
a safety.
That's right. That's
A
right.
Cam Wake safety in overtime.
Cam Wake safety. Listen, truthfully, I think that Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, they're going to try to get T. Higgins back. Their running game is a little weaker now, but that is a scary passing attack, and I don't know that we have the tools to stop it. So I am fearful of this one. I'm fearful of this division, to be honest. This is a really good division outside of the Browns. So, yeah, I think Dolphins versus Bengals should prove to be an interesting game. 2 high-powered offenses versus 2 struggling defenses, as it were.
Yeah.
We might get ourselves another shootout like that 2019 overtime win. In our past 2 matchups, the scores haven't been as crazy. 19-7, we beat them in 2020, and then 27-15, they beat us in 2022. So,
yeah,
see what happens.
You know, one of those losses to the Bengals was that infamous game where Tua got concussed.
Mm.
You know, for the second time. You know, it's debatable when that was, but that was the bad concussion, the nasty concussion, the one that we all remember. That was against
throwing
the
up gang signs. Is that the one?
The one he was throwing up gang signs. And
terrifying.
you know, my wife, who's a big Tua fan, I'm pretty sure she'd leave me for Tua if he wanted her to.
So
you know, she saw that and she's like, I will hate the Bengals forever because they hurt Tua.
Don't hurt the sweet prince.
So that's going to be a fun game to watch, though. You know, the Bengals are always a fun opponent as long as Joe Burrow is healthy. So that's going to be a home game for the Dolphins. Next, we have the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh. They always seem to give us troubles. You know, we had that one huge comeback victory against them, and other than that, a lot of bad games against the Baltimore Ravens. So, Josh, talk to me about the Baltimore Ravens here.
Yeah, I mean, look, Jackson and Henry, oof, brother, what a combo. And they have, you know, they know how to put a team together, right? For all of the opponents that Miami has faced, I really like the Baltimore Ravens quietly. I don't say it out loud much, but now it's all over the internet, so I'm screwed.
Done for.
You know, last time we played, last 5 games, 2 wins, 3 losses. We played them in 2023. We lost 19-56. We played them in 2022 where we had the 9 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to win 42-38. 2021, we won 22-10, and then 2019 and 2017. Well, 2017 we lost 0-40.
Yeah. And that was that game. That was that game where who was it? Kiko Alonso laid out Joe Flacco, and you know, that was just an ugly game. That game, I'll have nightmares about that game till the day I die.
Yeah, that was bad. That was
bringing up Kiko over here.
Kiko, baby. You know, I might be in the minority here, but I really liked him. I really liked Kiko.
A fun name.
Yeah. You know, they run really well. That's what they do. You know, Lamar Jackson can pass for a ton of yards because everyone is worried about putting 19 players and their grandmothers in the box to try to stop him and Derrick Henry. So, you know, it's going to be interesting, fellas. We need to make some moves, especially at the safety position, to even have a chance at this game.
I like that it's a home game. I like that we're not traveling to Baltimore for this one.
I wonder what time it is, though. I'll be curious. I'm hoping it's like a 1:00 game.
Yeah, prime time game. That doesn't bode well for us.
Like 7 p.m. Right?
Yeah,
I can see that being the Madrid game too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? But that actually works in our favor, though, because both teams travel. Both teams. I mean, different.
I could see that being the Madrid game too. Actually, Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a good one. So next we have a team that I think we faced in England at one point. The New Orleans Saints. So they just got a new coach in Kellen Moore. I believe Derek Carr is still their quarterback for the time being. And a team that's, you know, we talk about salary cap hell. They are the
Tannenbaum.
Yeah, they are the dictionary definition of salary cap hell. So
Purgatory.
I mean, for me, that was the least desirable job, uh, of the offseason for the coaches. But Kellen Moore took it. Kellen Moore is their coach. He's fresh off a Super Bowl victory with the Philadelphia Eagles. Taylor, talk to me about the New Orleans Saints.
Well, I'll bite the bullet here. I will jump on the hand grenade and talk about the Saints. You kind of just put it all out there. Like, I don't really know where to start with this team.
Yeah.
Like, you talk about a snapshot of like pre-free agency. This team is going to be so vastly different.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I'm not sure they're going to be much better because of their cap situation. Derek Carr, he may or may not be the quarterback. Alvin Kamara will be the running back.
Do you think he'll be back?
They locked him up. Well, they locked him up last year.
Oh, they
did.
You're right.
Carr did get a vote of confidence at the combine too, by the way, from the coaching staff.
So it looks like Derek Carr might be sticking around. You do have Chris Olave. He does have some injury issues himself. He's had some issues with concussions. Their offensive line, they got Talise Fuaga, who I was a massive fan of coming out in the draft. Other than that, though, I think they got Eric McCoy, I think, at center. Trevor Penning hasn't really worked out all that well.
Mm-hmm.
And then on defense, you have a bunch of aging vets, including the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, who is still a fantastic player. But I don't know, like at this point, that's a game that somehow seems like it would give the Dolphins trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't for the life of me be like, oh man, I'm so worried to play the Saints. And I'm sorry. Every time we say this, it feels like a shot to the fan base. It is not. It's just the way the roster looks right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we just took aim and pulled the trigger, so I don't know what you're talking about. I'm kidding.
Well, Taylor, I do feel bad about giving you the Saints because that's not a very desirable team to talk about. I will give you a desirable team to talk about in the Washington Commanders, who made,
I was hoping to get them. Damn it.
who made, you know what? It's only fair, man. I gave you the Saints.
That's fair.
So I'm going to give you the Washington Commanders here, Taylor. They went to the NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles, put up a bit of a fight, but Jaden Daniels looking pretty good. Coaching staff, I like Dan Quinn a lot. Talk to me about this Washington Commanders game. It will be in Miami, so that's a good thing, I suppose.
This year's Houston Texans.
Okay.
Just off the rip. You had
All right.
the rookie quarterback with a new coach coming in. They both light the world on fire. They absolutely exceed expectations, and they're going to do nothing but get better. You do look at the Texans situation. They somehow seem like they get better and worse this past season. A lot of that is due to injuries, but we're here to talk about the Commanders, not Texans. They do probably have to get better on the offensive line, help out Jay Daniels there. At running back, I think you can probably improve.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Brian Robinson Jr. and Eckler, but Eckler is getting a little up there in age. And then other than that, I think you just continue to bolster that defense. They have a nasty defensive line with Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Johnny Newton, who they drafted, I think, in the second round last season, who I was also a big fan of. I was surprised he went to the second round, but apparently he had some bad medicals. So it's a absolutely championship contending team that I am frightened to play next season.
Fair enough.
Luckily, I just have to watch them play. So.
What's crazy though is about the defensive line. Like they kind of purged it last season. They got rid of Montez Sweat, got rid of Chase Young, and then they come back and somehow they're better than they were they're better without those two guys than they were with those guys. It was crazy, and I think it's the Dan Quinn effect right there.
Yeah, the previous regime was trying to save face, getting some draft capital and stuff, trading away those guys, and then they hand Dan Quinn and company like an absolute empty defensive line.
All right, so we have two more home opponents left. Who wants the Bucks? Which one of you two wants the Bucks? Anthony, Josh?
I mean, I'll take it. I'll give Anthony the fun one.
All right. So, Josh, talk to me about Baker Mayfield, Todd Bowles, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling about what 20 minutes away to face the
Yeah,
Dolphins.
14 minutes depending on traffic. Yeah. Honestly, you know what? We faced them, I think, once in the last 5 years, and we lost 17-45.
Yeah.
I think it was in Tampa, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but I could be wrong. Yeah.
You're right.
Look, I think not the Saints. Sorry. I think the Bucks, wow, are actually a really solid team all around. I mean, I think they have championship pedigree. I think Baker has had a rejuvenation to his career. I think he fits that offense. I think Todd Bowles is one of my favorite coaches in the league. That's he's not an stellar coach, right? But I think he's solid at everything. He knows how to build a staff. I think he's built a really good staff there, and he's put the players around Baker that Baker needs to be successful. I think, they need to do a little bit of work on the offensive line, which might bode well for us, depending on some of the moves we make at this offseason and maybe Chop Robinson kind of continuing to evolve. But I think for the NFC South, I think they are perennial division leaders, in my opinion, at least for the foreseeable future. Which means that when we play them, yes, it's at home, right? But they travel really well when they, no matter where they go. So I would imagine that stays the same when they have to drive 14 minutes and maybe stop at Publix.
It always annoys me. It always annoys me to see, the Dolphins have a home game against a team like the Bucs or the Jaguars. It's like this is a neutral site game.
Let that be one of our away games, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't think it's an easy win. I don't think it's an easy game at all, right? And currently, I don't feel confident, right? If we were to face them with our current roster, I know we're missing like 38 players, but with the team that we had last year, I don't think we win, right? So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, the Bucs are certainly a solid team. Again, it's a home game, but is it really? So, this last game we're going to be talking about, Anthony's going to be talking about this one. This one is most definitely a home game. We have the formerly known as the San Diego Chargers, now the Los Angeles Chargers, traveling across the country to face our Miami Dolphins. Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert, Derwin James, who we mentioned earlier. Hopefully, Javon Holland is not his running mate in this game. Anthony, talk to me about the Chargers.
Yeah, man, our unofficial rival from the AFC West. I don't know if the players know that, but the fans certainly feel it.
Oh, sure do.
Tua versus Herbert will forever be in existence until they retire. In Tua's case, maybe next year. But listen, the last time we played them, 2023, we played them week 1, 2023. We traveled across the globe. Well, that's a little dramatic, but across the country to LA to face the Chargers. And this was, again, Tua versus Herbert. Herbert's going to crush him. Tua comes out, throws 466 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game. You would have thought that would have put the argument to rest, but sadly it did not.
Nope.
We won that one 36-34. Surprisingly close given the game that Tua had. That one, I gotta be honest. Absolutely crazy. This team terrifies me because their coach terrifies me. I think Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches in the league. And
so good.
It's crazy. Everywhere he's gone, he has won. Start with San Francisco 49ers, and he goes to, was he at Stanford first before Michigan?
He was Stanford.
Was he at Stanford?
He went to Stanford, then he went to the Niners, then he went to Michigan.
Okay, Stanford, then the Niners, then Michigan. Now the Chargers.
He coached Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck, right. Yeah. So everywhere he goes, he turns in a winning program, and next year is year 2. Justin Herbert is a good quarterback, right? So if you give somebody like Jim Harbaugh a good quarterback, it's a dangerous situation. Ladd McConkey had an amazing rookie season last year.
One of my favorite rookies. I wanted him so
beast.
bad.
Absolute beast. So, I listen, I do think we match up well just because I think that Tua and Herbert know it's them versus the other, right? I think they show up a little extra for this game. But it is certainly... It's funny because I got the Bengals too, and I feel like this is a very similar matchup. Where these could just be shootout games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. In that Chargers game last year, that was one of the best games I've seen Tua play as a Miami Dolphin.
One of the worst that our defense have played.
Well, I mean, neither team could stop anybody in that game, but you know what? Tua carved them up all afternoon. Mm-hmm. It was a beautiful thing to see.
Chargers
So we're
were
gonna move
second
on
in-
to
second in the division, by the way, at 11-6 in their first season with Jim Harbaugh.
yeah. They're only going to go up from here.
Well, I mean, but I will counter that in saying they are getting old in a lot of places. They're losing some key pieces. They have some decisions to make on the offensive line and at linebacker. And so, I mean, you know, they might not be the Chargers that we saw last year. Now, I still agree with Anthony. I think they're super competitive, and Hallbar's, I can't even say, I can never say his name. Jimmy Boy is a hell of a good coach. I mean, just a solid all around coach, knows how to build for his players, knows how to fit schemes to fit his play. I mean, so it's not a pushover, but they do have some work to do.
They're losing about as many guys as we are, but I actually think that's a benefit to them because that means Harbaugh gets to plug his guys in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that prospect just kind of terrifies me a little bit, Anthony.